Good evening, and welcome to another World of Warships video with Captain Darkwing Glacier. In this battle, I am playing my Tier 10 American battleship, the Montana, and this is a ranked battle. I've been playing Montanas for most of the ranked season so far. I've tried my Henri IV a couple times, but I wasn't having a lot of success, and I seem to be having the most success with my Montana, so I've been sticking with it. I started out at rank 13 this season because last season I was able to get to rank 1, fortunately. And if I make it to rank 1 one more time, this will be the 5th season in which I do so, and I'm looking forward to getting the USS Black as a reward. So there's been a lot of complaints I've noticed in players that they don't like battleships in ranked because they seem to be the ones most likely to maintain keeping their star if their team loses, the way it works in this season and the couple ones prior to this one is that if you win, you gain a star and you advance, and if you lose a star, except in the case where you are the top XP earner on your team, in which case you do not gain a star, you do not lose a star, you end up remaining static. So there have been a lot of accusations that battleship players tend to sit back, snipe from a distance, never get actually involved in the battle, and they're not playing to win the game, but rather they're playing to not lose a star. And if it just so happens that their team is good enough to come away with a win, then they get a bonus star, but if their team isn't able to carry them to victory, then they end up, that is the battleship ends up being the one who gets first place and essentially having taken no risks and is able to maintain their place in the rankings. I've seen some battleships act like that, but I don't want to say that the majority of them do. Honestly, I have seen a lot of gross occur firsts who are definitely brawlers kind of hanging back, which I think does not play to their strengths. But I've also seen lots of Yamatos, lots of Kerr firsts, lots of Montanas, and Republics as well, all advancing forward and getting in the fight. So whereas it does happen, I don't think it happens quite as often as a lot of people seem to be complaining that it does. In any case, I've been playing my Montana, and I definitely do not sit back and snipe at least the entire game. I try to get a few shots off at the beginning, and that's always a mixed bag, because if you spot an enemy battleship and you take a shot from well over 20 kilometers away, you're usually going to miss, or you might get a bounce or an overpen. You know, it's usually not that strong of a hit, but you also expose yourself for a good 20 seconds for the enemy to respond, and they can gang up on you. And what seems to happen to me is I always get one bounce or maybe an overpen for 1,350 hit points, and then they all fire back at me and do something like 8,000 points to me. So it's kind of a difficult decision whether or not you should actually risk firing or not. So in this battle, actually on this map, I tend to go over to sea a lot because I can get some crossfires on the A cap, and usually I go over here with a destroyer and a cruiser like I am in this battle. And since I spotted the Yamato guarding the B cap, I decided to load HE because he being a Yamato is more than likely to sit back there and tank or bow tank, and the Montana going bow tanking against a bow tanking Yamato does not do a lot of damage. So the best thing I can do at this point is hopefully set a few fires, and this Yamato driver, the first fire I set on him, he put it out immediately, so my second salvo sets him on fire again, and that salvo is gonna stick, or that fire is gonna stick rather. So I fire my third salvo at him this time. Maybe I can start a third fire, but unfortunately I aim a little bit too far aft on this one, and I believe my shots are going to land. Yeah, I'm going to straddle his stern and I don't get any more hits. However, I do notice that our Yue Yang has detected the enemy gearing, and I'm going to take my next shots against the gearing, and that's because any chance you can to help your DDs take out the enemy DDs is worth taking. It's a very low probability hit, and I doubt I'm going to actually score a hit this time against the gearing, but any little bit helps. Oh, there we go. I actually get 2 hits and an incapacitation, so that's good. But every little bit helps against your DDs, because if they take out your DDs first, you are at a severe disadvantage. So even though it's a low probability of hitting, if you do hit, there's a good chance you're going to do a significant amount of damage to them, and it can help your team immensely, and it can in fact determine the entire pace of the game going forward, or the entire tone of the game. So I did take a shot there, and I am lucky. Now I get a shot on the Shimakaze, who's just right at the extent of my range, and I am very fortunate to get 2 hits there, another incapacitation, and 2 defended. So that helps my Z-52 on the other side of the map. The Shimakaze is now only down to 6,100 points. So I take another shot. This is extreme range again, so the chances are very low that I'm going to hit him. But at the very least, we're driving him out of the cap now, and that's an advantage to the team. So if you're in a battleship, you know, you want to just kind of snipe at the big targets, but it's definitely worth it to go after the small targets. See there again, I get another hit on the enemy Shimakaze. So now we lose our Yue Yang to a torpedo from the enemy gearing, so that's not good. Shots out on the Yamato. I'm firing HE again because he's doing what I expected. He is bow tanking. The Yamato is actually aiming his guns towards the other side of the map, and it looks like the enemy Shimakaze takes out our Z-52, so we are down 2 destroyers now, so this is really not good. Unfortunately, the Kerr first looks like he takes out the enemy Shimakaze, so that balances it a little bit. I fire more HE shots on this Yamato, who's now starting to turn towards me. He's recognized the danger as I close to within secondary range. I set a fire upon him. I'm still relatively well angled against him, but here come his shots. He fires a little bit too far forward and short, so he does some damage to me, but nothing crippling, which is excellent. My secondaries are starting to rack up some hits on him, but he's now hidden behind the island, so I don't have a clear shot with my main guns. I fire my 2 rear turrets at him. Hopefully maybe I can do some bouncing, but now I'm detected again. I go out of detection. I know that enemy gearing is nearby, and it turns out he ends up being a lot closer than I thought he was going to be. So he's turning broadside, so that means only one thing. He's not firing his guns. That means he's launching his torpedoes, desperately urging my turrets to go faster. Fortunately, I take my shots out and I get kill number 1, but here they come. Here come the torpedoes. So I try to turn my stern turret as fast as I can. I take 2 torpedo hits, which causes a flood and also damages my steering, which I don't repair quite fast enough, and that causes me to take a 4th torpedo hit. I knew I was going to take the 3rd, but since my steering had me stuck going to starboard, that meant I took a 4th torpedo hit. So I took about, 20,000 damage more than I needed to, or maybe 13,000 damage. I'm not sure what the damage of a Gearing's torpedo is. But now both teams are down their destroyers. We are actually right on the money in terms of number of points. The game is effectively even. And at this point I realized, I gotta go forward. I need to get around the cap and take the B cap away from the enemy Yamato. The Minotaur is still here on my side, so I'm hoping that he's going to support me in going after the Yamato. But I realized that we have 3 ships over at the A cap, whereas the enemy has 4. So if I'm going to advance towards the B cap, I need to provide whatever support I can, even though I'm on the other side of the map. So that's good news. We take out the enemy Hindenburg with a fire. So now we're up 1 ship. I take some HE shots at the Montana because I don't have any AP loaded from this range, but I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm not sure it was the best aim though, so I don't think I'm going to get any hits. Again, this enemy Yamato, I'm a little bit worried that he's going to be waiting for me and citadel me the minute he sees me, but fortunately his turrets are pointed the other way. He's just, well, in this case he's really acting like one of those snipers in the sitting in his cap. He now sees the danger and he starts accelerating and turning towards me. In the meantime, we've lost our Kerr first, so we're now down 4 to 4 ships. And the Yamato is going to do what Yamatos do best, which is bow tank. I still have HE loaded rather, because I know that against the bow tanking Yamato, my AP shells are just going to bounce and do minimal damage. He fires his broadside on me. Fortunately, that's not a very good hit. Does essentially no damage, which is excellent. The Yamato is actually now turning to expose his rear turret on me. I set 2 fires on him with my secondaries, which is excellent. I have HE loaded. My rear turrets are still loading. So I switch to AP now, which is going to take a full 25 seconds to reload. I take a massive hit, 30,000 damage. There's definitely a Citadel in there. So now the Yamato has more health than I do. I'm kind of hoping that my Minotaur is going to support me here. And right on cue, here come the Minotaur's torpedoes, which hopefully will damage the Yamato and maybe even take him out. Because right now I take another big hit. Fortunately, that looks like it was a little bit low, so maybe he fired a little bit too low. And unfortunately, the Minotaur's torpedoes do not hit at all. They're a little too shallow. I'm desperately hoping my guns reload fast enough. We're now down 3 to 3 ships. Here come the next shots, which take me down to 463 hit points. Then I finally get my shots off. 2 Citadels, and I kill the Yamato with not even, I guess, seconds to spare. Fortunately, just prior to that last volley, I was able to take out the Yamato's second main gun, or his second turret. And if I hadn't done that, then his last salvo probably, well, almost certainly would have killed me. So I was very fortunate to be able to incapacitate that turret, because that kept me alive long enough to get my final salvo off to kill him. So at this point, we are up 3 ships to their 2, but they're chasing down our Hindenburg with their Montana, which is nearly full health, and their Des Moines, which is also nearly full health. So even though we have the C cap and we're capturing B, and we're ahead on points, there's a good chance that they're going to catch up by taking out the Hindenburg. And since I am definitely not in fighting condition at this point to take on those 2 ships, it's at this point where we decide, you know, we need to basically cut our losses. Hopefully our Hindenburg can hold them off as long as possible. And I spoke a little too soon, because there he goes. So now we're down 2 to 2 ships. The red team actually has more points than we do. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit, where we are desperately trying to run away and stay away from them and earn as many points as possible. We're over 900 now. And the Montana is closing in on the Minotaur, and the Minotaur's been firing torpedoes, but unfortunately not enough to take him out. And there I spot the Des Moines, because he's in desperation firing at our cap, thinking maybe he'll hit us, which gives me an opportunity to take him out. So I line up my shot, I fire, he detects it at the last minute and he begins to turn, but it's a little bit too late. And I deliver 6 penetrating hits, which gets me the high caliber award and takes him down to about 40% health. In the meantime, the Montana is about to enter the other cap. We're at 980 points. My team is urging me that I gotta kill the Des Moines. Fire the next salvo. We're at 986. The Des Moines is desperately trying to get in the cap. I deliver a Citadel, take him down to 2,000 points, which he immediately begins to heal. But at this point, it's too late. There's nothing they can do. We just need to get one more burst of points, and there we go. 1,000 points, and it's a squeaker. We get by, and we get the win. So that was a pretty exciting game. So fortunately, I'm able to get high caliber, two kills, 3 Citadels, come in first place to my team. Good support from my teammates. I'm able to do 97,000 points of damage to that Yamato, and that was an exciting game. Thanks for watching.